Okay, so now we're on the rebel phase, or first action in their movement phase, and they essentially have to make a choice here as to where they want to move and what they want to do. They're going to get to move one stack, and then we're going to move, and the government gets to move a stack, and they alternate back and forth. Well, it doesn't have to be one stack. They can move all of the units in one district together, but they move as a group of war parties. That seems an inefficient way to do things. So the question here is, where do you want to move? And here's what the problem is. There's nothing in the way. They can just walk through anything. If we look at the terrain, this Sino County is fairly shielded from everything else. It could be a dangerous little trap. Another option would be, and that actually there's a wall basically here, but they could come through Nimba County and strike down into anything, including Monrovia. Oops. Guess I garrisoned the wrong stuff here. And it looks very much like the rebels can walk wherever they like. Can they? Yeah, they can make it all the way down, well, through here into Monrovia. Monrovia sounds like a good place to be. So that's what I'm going to aim for. I don't think this is how the game's supposed to go, but I'm just going to walk through, right? The only thing that stops me is jungle borders and enemy war parties. I don't see a reason to particularly try to destroy the government armies, even though I have an advantage with this big stack and I may use it. So, in we go. And blink, 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 blink. Well, we're going to pillage the library, because that seems like a good idea. Here in the inner town, I think we're going to send another force down to take the Capitol Hill in the same fashion, because there's the soldier statue there. Now that gets a shot. Trying to remember what the factor there is. There's not going to be a battle. Roll a die, the war party takes that many hits. Okay, so the war party only takes one hit for entering there. And that's not enough to destroy anything. So there's no problem. Then moving on, well, what else looks like it's easy to take? I'm gonna strike down the same route and make it down here to Harble and grab that with a good unit. Taking a fortified area. And then down here, I kind of want to fight someone. But I'm not sure why. If I place myself here, I put a block that makes it very difficult for the government forces to get to the other side of the board. There's a mountain range running up through here, then jungles here, and this is really the only way through the country. The majority of the government forces are going to be to the right, and the rebellion is just struck down and grabbed valuable territory. I would doubt that this kind of action would be possible in most games, but here's the thing. It's really tough to defend the entire line. Now, obviously, look, the government should have put a force here and given up those kind of defensive territories to the rebellion, because now the rebellion has taken the center of the country. But had they done that, they'd give up that entire area. So, it's a hard choice, I guess, and I think I made the wrong one. Of course, I can't move them all at once. So, that's a good point. So if that was my plan, and I rolled the damage already, well, I guess I can only move this stack. And we'll see what the government does in response. I can't move all my stacks at once. So following that plan and the fact that I rolled a die, I'm going to send the one guy into the Capitol Hill. The library has to be returned because that was not taken. And we'll let the government make a choice. Now, we're going to mark this guy as used. I'm going to turn it kind of like that to indicate he's been activated for the turn. I hope that's sufficient for me. Okay, so now the government sees everything's coming this way. They have an extra unit here, which they can slide up here to this location down and then into Nimba County, and they have just blocked the that route, the weakness that was sitting there. Okay, so now we go back to the rebels, and now the rebels don't have the easy way through. I'm going to move my major force under Charles Taylor in here to attack this. And we get a fight. And what's our fight going to be like? Well, let's see what our strengths are. We have a lot of firepower here and some Zoes, which give us the die roll benefit against the AFL, who just has a few kids to defend themselves. So the AFL's total defense here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the total offense for Charles Taylor is 10, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. Both sides are in supply. So, well, 5 sounds like I'm going to roll 1 die. 25, I'm going to be able to wipe this guy out as long as I don't go over. So I'm going to roll 8 dice for him. The 1 die does 4, and 8 dice does 3, 8, 17, 25 hits. I screwed up. I rolled too many dice. Uh-oh. 25 is 1 more than 24. 8 dice was a bad calculation there. I only wanted to roll 4 dice to do my maximum damage. But 25 is a pretty good number still. I've got the Zoe bonus here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract 1 die from my total. And that's 4, so I do 21 hits. And I don't remember what I did on the attack, the defense. I think it was 4 or 5. Okay, so 25, 3, 6, 9, 10, 11, I've wiped this force out. Let's see who gets to choose the damage, though, for that 4 or 5, because that's going to be an issue. I think I went over this, but it's hard to remember things like this. Combat results. It's entirely up to the defending player which ones are destroyed. What's the defending player? I guess the guy who got rolled against, not the defender, right? Okay. Now, this is also where there's a bit of an ambiguity. When combat is over, the owning player must destroy a certain number of fortitude points to equal or exceed that number of hits. Excess hits, not enough to destroy any unit, are ignored. Again, a direct contradiction. Now, you wouldn't write that, the excess are ignored, if you meant it, if you didn't mean it. So I'm playing with that because I can't imagine that the earlier statement is in agreement with it, but I get the feeling almost that somebody wanted to say both at different times and just they didn't get the rules straight. So we're going to kill some kids, and do we want to kill Manos or Geos? Well, that's hard to tell. Manos are these little stars down here, and Geos are, damned if I can find them, X's, which you get up here. Manos look more common. I'm going to lose one of them. And I got to find the right place to put them. Okay. That's a successful combat. Hey, we haven't really been worrying about that Juju level adjustment. But let's see. First of all, one of these kids, and I'll take a Geo, oh, no. I'll take a Mano kid. No, I don't have any men to replace them with, so these kids stay as kids. Unless I killed some, which I don't think I did. We lost some Kron. Okay. And Taylor's stack goes back where he was. So he attacked. Let's see how much Juju. Oh, first let's see about the leader. The leader was defeated. On a 1 through 4, he becomes disgraced. On a 5 or a 6, he's killed. He's just disgraced. Which puts him here. He has a chance of coming back either to the pool or to the available. I'm not sure which one it goes to. Now let's look at the Juju effect. If you get no foreign aid, you get a penalty. Each friendly fighter or leader eliminated through combat. That sounds like -3 for the government. +3 for the rebel Juju. Oh, but these are doubled because we've got a double star leader there, right? That's somewhere there. They have no, but the presence means the prestige is on the line. Any Juju gained or lost by either side is doubled. Okay, so we have to worry about how the control goes too. Gaining new areas gives you more Juju than holding areas, which makes sense. But that's the effect for this fight. And that's pretty exciting. I've shown some of the movement. I'm going to move another government stack or not, as I choose. If both players pass, the turn ends. I'll come back at the end. Well, yeah, let's just keep playing out this combat sequence as it goes, I guess. So the government's going to have a hard time doing anything about that Charles Taylor stack. It's bigger than anything they have. They could send President Doe in, but he doesn't really feel comfortable attacking that stronger stack, even without a defensive bonus. Which means he's kind of stuck back here. Not sure what to do about it. He could take the risky attack. I think he almost has to. because he's just in too much trouble. The floodgates are opened if he doesn't. So in he goes. And we have another big battle. I'm going to get some dice, roll it out. I'll come back with the effects. Okay, so Taylor had 5, 10, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. And he rolled 5 dice, his choice. 10, 15, 16, 17, 18. He's well within, he's going to do a lot of damage. Doe, on the other hand, had 4, 10, 11, 12, 13 strength points. He rolled a 13. Taylor's going to use his Zoe to force Doe to roll another die, which automatically means Doe is going to do no damage. Doe had hostages with him when he moved in. He loses those hostages. They're a defensive-only bonus. Once you leave the area that you came from, they went away. So that actually happened before the combat. So now, Doe has done no damage, and he's been hit hard for 15, 16, 17, 18 hits that he gets to choose here. The men are obviously a good deal. At 12, this brings us to 17, and now we don't go over. So 4 units are destroyed. That's an 8-point swing each way, 8 point for each direction. So government juju goes down to 52, rebel juju up to 98. These men are wiped out, and I have to find where they go. As are the vets. Doe has to retreat back here where he came from. And Taylor took no damage. He still can't raise any Geo or Mano as far as I know. We have vets. Yeah, we don't have any men for those kids to become. But his situation's improved even more, and he gets to keep the Zoe, which has proved quite valuable. Now, for him, he wants to shift the unit down, like I said, into the library to take that. He wants to start getting control of the capital, force his way. He's forcing Doe into this kind of unpromising position over in this area of the board. Now comes the government again, and they really don't have a hell of a lot they can do. They've got some defensive bonuses, so they're going to pass, and at this point I'm going to move this fella into here to grab this county because it gives him a bonus. Alright, well, the government passes again. They don't think they can oust him. They don't think they have that kind of power. And the turn is pretty much over in terms of the pulses. Now the government player gets a random event. He's red as the 10s. It's a 54. Palestinian torture videos. If any faction's base leader is dead, the facing player gets some money from the video. Well, that didn't happen yet, so we don't have to worry about it. Now, unflipping. Now, the way I'm doing these, I'm only worried if they're out of supply. Everybody's in supply right now, so everything unflips and is active. Alright. I don't think this is what the rules intended, but I don't think the rules had a consistent intent, to tell you the truth. And this one at least kind of works. Roll to restore disgraced leaders. Okay. Let's see that. 10.1. No, that's not quite it. Is it? Oh, yeah. On a 1 or a 2, the leader goes back to the available leaders box. And so the disgraced general here is dropped back into the box. It'll be available again for the government if they need him. All right. Control of counties and Monrovia boxes. Ooh. So, if only one player has units in the county, it's automatically going to move. In this case, Maryland County moves from government control to rebel control. And what did we get there? That's 2 points for the rebels and minus a die for the government. And this is Juju. Government loses 3. And the rebels are up to 100. They're not going to lose any this turn anymore, so I'm just going to put them at the 99. We're worried about what the government gains, though, and loses. So let's count things that aren't in contention. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 counties the government has that I don't have any question about. I have a question about Montserrado because there are troops in Monrovia, and I'm not sure how that works. And I'm worried about this because there's troops from both factions. So what were we at? 9, I believe, for the government. So government Juju goes up 9 for maintaining control over a significant portion. Now, let's look. Let's see how control. See, I thought Monrovia counts as part of Montserrado County as well. I believe it does. I'm not sure. It may be just the external. It's not specified, so I'm going to run Monrovia completely separately. So for Monrovia, the government gets another 4 Juju. And then they're going to lose 2 dice for the 2 provinces they lost there, which is 5. And the rebel Juju would go up on these, but that's not really an issue right now. And obviously, I did a poor job of defending as the government here, right? Okay, and now let's check the final one, which is Nimba County, and that's actually contested. If players are both sides, they still have effective control. So red we'll use for the rebels, white for the government. The government has 2, which is a 4. The rebels have 1, which is a 2. Let's see if either one can get under. The government got under, so it maintains control and gets another point of Juju for that. The rebels don't lose anything. They didn't have anything at risk there. They were trying to gain it. Okay. We remove Zoes and hostages from the map. All those guys we paid for? Well, making sure I don't have them. We have some hostages that were taken. They come off the map. Okay. So, and now the game turn is going to end, and we go on to turn 2, early 1990, and the beginning of the sequence again. I'll put it up here in the random events phase to see what happens there. I'm going to load this one up. We see the rebels were able to really hit the government hard in terms of where they ended up. And now really the question becomes, what can the government possibly do? Because these rebel stacks are potent. If they start splitting the rebel stacks up, or making weaker stacks, the government's poised to affect them. But the government may want to start consolidating its stacks and trying to fight battles at a more even ratio. They certainly suffered some major losses, though, here right away. Okay, I'm going to load this one up.